Well, Kean University is adding another sport to its athletic curriculum next year, women's flag football, a sport that's been growing quickly across the entire country. Right now, Kean is experimenting with the sport at a recreational level. Joining me now is BJ Johnson, the school's managing assistant director of recreation and external affairs. BJ, great to have you on today.
Good morning, Mike.
Well, talk to me first about your passion for sports and how it led you on a path towards Kean University.
My passion for sports started at a very young age. My fun fact is this is kind of the first job I've ever done that wasn't coaching. Every summer in high school and college, I was coaching lacrosse camps and working with young athletes. And so I never wanted to do anything else other than coach. So I went to college, became a phys ed major, moved on to my coaching career. Through multiple stops along the way, I landed in New Jersey and I had the opportunity to coach lacrosse here at Kean for multiple years, which was exciting. And then this opportunity came up to move on to the more administrative side. And so, it's been a great 2 years of doing something new and a little bit different than being a coach.
That is fantastic. Now, as I said in the intro, you guys have been experimenting with recreation games in flag football this spring before it becomes a full-blown varsity sport next year. How much are the girls enjoying these games, and how has the reception been?
Coach Kelly Williams and I, the athletic director here, when, he decided that this was going to be a thing, we were very just unsure of what the interest level was going to be, where we're going to have to be, chasing kids down on campus to participate. And at our first interest meeting, we had over 20 student athletes interested. And then, the final roster was around 30. So we were pleasantly surprised with that reception. The women that participated this year were so excited. They were so enthusiastic. A lot of them are dual sport athletes that are competing for other teams here at Kean, and some students are new to the athletics world. And so it was a really fun learning experience for everybody, for the coaches, for the administration, and for the student athletes in this first season of women's flag football.
Now, we're all familiar with men's football, tackle football to be exact. This is flag football played by women. Can you talk about how the rules and gameplay differ from the traditional football that we're all so used to?
So there's a lot of similarities, and so that really helps with the familiarity of that. We watch footballs on Saturdays and Sundays on the weekend. So when you're watching a women's flag game, it's not that different. The field is a little bit shorter. It's a little bit narrower. Obviously, you're not tackling, so you're pulling flags. One of the big rules, which surprised me when I was watching the game for the first time, was you're not allowed to guard your flags, which means your hands can't be real low. And so obviously we see on Sunday at the NFL, them protecting the football, holding it in front of them or holding it to the side and tight. Sometimes that can prohibit the other team of grabbing your flag. So a lot of times the women will run with the ball above their head, which is obviously different. Football, you would never see that because that would be an easy way to get that ball out and fumble the ball. But in flag, because you can't protect your flags very well, that's part of the rules of the game. So that was one of the biggest differences. But overall, our one of our football assistant coaches, Evan Durand, was calling up plays, and they had run plays and pass plays, and it's very similar. There's 7 people on the field instead of your normal full team in tackle. But overall, when you go watch a flag football game, you're going to know what's going on.
It's fantastic. Now, Kean University recently introduced a women's golf program. Now the women will have a flag football team. How exciting is it knowing that not only that the athletic curriculum is growing, but that there's been such a focus on women's sports?
Obviously, women's sports are near and dear to my heart. I think that this is such an exciting time in the world of athletics, but here at Kean University that we're adding these sports. And they're also the student athletes that are going to be interested in golf and flag football might be 2 different student athletes. And so now we're, really able to offer a wide variety of type of sports and, different interests, which is really exciting. Obviously, the growth of women's sports and women's athletics in the country right now is kind of at an all-time high. And I think it's a great time to seize the opportunity and really, focus on women's athletics here at Kean.
Well, I want to piggyback off of something you just said. Women's sports has grown mightily over the past few years. The WNBA is reaching new audiences. There's now a professional women's hockey league with a team that plays right here in New Jersey. Do you think we're in the middle of a revolution with women's sports?
Yes. I was talking to somebody a long time ago about when is women's sports really going to be able to make that jump. And, it's interesting. We talk about, I have a son, and my son is, this basketball season, he was wearing Sabrina sneakers. And so they are the next generation. And he was showing me this morning about, how many points Caitlin Clark had in her WNBA game this week. And so I think that's what's really starting, that these young kids and these young boys and girls are now seeing female athletes everywhere and in the pro space, and the marketing and all of that kind of stuff. So I think we're really in a great position. We're putting a great product out there. I mean, look at the NCAA women's basketball, Final Four. And, I just think we're just moving in the right direction. And it's so exciting because it's been like this for a long time. I think people are just really recognizing it now.
And the university is hosting the New Jersey Girls High School Flag Football Championship later this year, and you're doing that in partnership with the New York Jets. How cool is that?
I mean, it's amazing. And it's, one of the things that's awesome about our location here at Kean University, that we are so close to New York City and we're able to have these partnerships. Dr. Reppoletta, our president, has really, embraced this and, pushed for this. And it's been really cool to be able to see that trickle down to our students at a whole, here at Kean University and our student athletes, and to be able to host things like that and be able to showcase, the sport that's emerging, here on campus has been really exciting.
Now, lastly, I've gotten to know Kean Athletics pretty well over the past year or so. Not only is it a great program, but it's run by great people. How awesome is it being a part of that family?
It's awesome to come to work every day and with a smile on your face and, know that, the offices that are surrounded around, by you are with great people. I think it doesn't matter what you do in this world. It's really a matter of who you do it with. And so I've had a great run here at Kean, and, I'm really excited and love the people I work with, and coming to work every day is just a joy.
Well, I'm looking forward to this women's flag football. BJ Johnson, thanks so much for coming on today.
You are welcome. Thank you, Mike.